Well, welcome back. This is Splatlander Mike again. We're going to work on this better violin today. My last video I glued in, well, I was going to glue in the saddle here and the nuts. So I've got them glued in already. We did the pegs. One thing I forgot to mention was this Hill composition, peg composition. And it's made by Hill, and I'm going to put a little bit around the pegs here. Just it's like a chalk or like a grease, and we're just going to put that in the holes, and they'll run smooth. I do have another additive. If you've got one peg that's slipping a lot, you can put it on, and it actually tightens it up. I got quite a bit left. Peg drops, so you can do that while it's strung and everything. So you can just put a little drop on the inside and maybe a little drop on the outside. It can affect the finish, so be careful with it. But it expands the wood and it makes it fit really tight. So some of these pegs are a little sticky, so we're just going to bring it in, put it in there, and then we're going to turn it around, spread that out. See, it's a little sticky, so just put a little bit of, just kind of rub it on, and then when we get the strings, we'll string it, and it'll be fairly tight. So yeah, so that's that part. Now the next part is a sound post. And I believe this is the old sound post that came out of it. But since we had the top and the back off, we're going to re-measure. So I have a couple of tools here. This is a sound post measuring tool, and you just put this inside the F-hole, and then you can move it up and down, and measure where you want your sound post to lock it. And then there you have a measurement. So we're going to use that. And this is a sound post setter. The end is sort of like a chisel. I like to keep it nice and sharp. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to stick that onto the sound post. And we'll try to go with the grain. It's going this way. We're going to try and go with the grain. And we're going to just stick it in there. And it'll stick right in. You don't want it too tight because you got to get it off. And then we'll just stick it inside the F-hole on this side and then kind of stand it up. And then with the other end we can put it in the sound hole on this side or on the other side, and we can kind of move it around. Now the bottom, the back is kind of angled this way, so it's kind of bowed out, as you can see. And so we're going to have to cut a little bit of an angle on the sound post so that it sits against the back and against the top. The top comes out too. It's got a curve on the top. So we're going to set that sound post in the middle here somewhere. Right around the bridge, over the would be 1, 2, first and second strings, sort of in there, a little bit maybe ahead of the bridge. Now you wonder, where do I put the bridge, because it's all over. Now this has got marks in it where the bridge was, but as you can see here, there's the marks. So this notch here and this notch here is supposed to be where the bridge sits. If your neck is the right length and the right scale length, that's about where it goes. You can change it back and forth a little bit. It'll depend on how it's playing. If you hit your positions on the neck and it sounds off, and you find you got to start moving your fingers up and down, then you can move the bridge and change that scale length. But for the most part, they're pretty accurate. So, so we're gonna measure the sound post first. I'm gonna just turn this around, and I'm gonna put this inside. Kind of off my angle, and then I'm gonna loosen this, bring it up. Now remember, if you cut a sound post, you can cut it down if you make it a little bit too long, but you can't add to it. Then you end up making another sound post. So I'm gonna tighten that there, and then I'm just gonna try it and see where we are here. Add a little bit more, make it a bit longer. Okay, so that's pretty good right there. So I'm gonna just check this sound post that was, pretty sure this is the one that was in there. And it's really close. So I was gonna cut a new one, but this one is already angled. If you can see, it's got an angle on the top. And the bottom has a little bit of an angle. Okay, so the angle on the top, so we're going to put it in. It's got a pencil line down here, so that's the center, and that's which way you want it to go. So I'm going to turn it around here. So I'm going to put my post setter in here. This is probably one of the hardest things to do on violins. I remember my grandfather, my first violin I got, actually tied a little string on here with a clove hitch. He was a fisherman. And then you feed the string through the middle of the violin out this hole, and then the other one's out here. And then he would just grab each side, and then he brought it in, and then he tied the string on the top so that he could pull the top and then kind of push it in, and it would sit up. And you want that post as straight as you can get it. So I'm going to go in here with this, and I think I might have to cut a little bit off. I'm going to get a little bit of light here. See, now someone's put a circle in there where the post went, but this post is a little bit long, so we're going to take this off, and we're going to make it a little bit shorter. You got to go a little bit at a time. So this is angled this way. So I'm just going to take my sanding. I have a piece of hard maple, I think. No, it's actually MDF, so it's pretty stable. Sticky sandpaper on it. And I have fine, and I have coarse. So, okay, so I'm going to try that again. Actually, I'm going to taper. Sometimes if you taper a little bit, it's a little bit easier to get in there. So I'm going to taper top and bottom a little bit. Just give it a little chamfer on the edge. Makes it easier to put in there. Okay, so we're going to try this again. Back in there, so it's pretty stiff. And if you drop it, don't be alarmed. You can get it back out. Okay, so that's a little bit too far in. It's getting close here. So we're going to just take a little more off. Okay, well, kind of time consuming. Just take your time. Put it in there. Which quite often I'll get it standing up there and then I'll try to move it and it'll pop out. So, I mean, that's not a big deal. Okay, so I got it. Now I'm going to pull back on it. Okay, it's stuck in there now. I'll try to show you. I don't know if you can see it in there. But anyway, it is in there. But it's a little crooked. So I'm going to try and straighten it a bit. So I'm going to try and pull it the bottom a little bit. There. Okay, it's pretty straight up and down. It's a little close to the edge here. Try and pull it, push it in on the bottom. Pull it back a bit. It'll probably pop out. You try to get it straight. It's really hard to tell if it's straight or not, but yeah, we're right about here. We're right about here. So I'm going to leave that there for now. Actually, maybe I should move it in. I think it might be a little bit short now. So. Anyway, that back out. Okay, I just pulled it down. I didn't show you how to take this out. Now I get the post so it's sitting underneath the F-hole. Then I flip it over and then it falls out. Sometimes you got to kind of put the hook in and pull it out. But so anyway, so we're gonna make a post then. I'm gonna just check the height here. See, I think we better make it just a wee bit longer. Okay, so here I have spruce, it's soundpost material. I bought this from a supplier. So we're going to just put a mark on it and cut it off. Pencil here. Okay, and got to remember it's tapered, so we're going to go the long way, the longest part. Okay, so cut it off. Very simple. Don't use a saw. Just get a knife. And you put it on there. Something hard. Piece of plywood I got here. And then you just run the knife back and forth. Whoop. That's a little crooked. Kind of working on an angle here, that's why I'm a little awkward. Okay, check and see where we are here. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to just taper it. So the grain is running this way, so I'm going to just put a pencil line down the grain here. Okay, so now I'm going to taper that towards that pencil line. Put a little taper on it. Okay, then the other end too. little bit of chamfer on it. Just kind of run it over the sandpaper like that. Makes it a little easier to put in. Okay, so I'm going to stick this back in to this one. Can find my line. It's right there. Okay, this is going to be the top. So make sure you use spruce or something soft. I guess you probably could use cedar, but spruce is the most common. If you buy it from a supplier, then it'll be a spruce one. Okay, so now it's a little bit, oh, that doesn't work. It's too long, so I'm going to take it back out. Okay, so I got the sound post out. Took me a couple minutes. Finally came out. Okay, and I took a little bit off top and bottom. I probably could do just the one side, one end. Just moved. So it does come off. Oop, there, just keep out. It comes off the post setter. I'm going to just take a little bit more off. Still a little bit too long. Like I say, you take a little bit at a time, because you can't add any to it. If it's too short, then you have to make a new one. So set it back in there. Okay. Gotta try and go by the one that's the mark that's in there. Okay, it's in, but it's got quite an angle, so we're going to try and push it in. Nope. Like I say, sometimes it takes a few times here. Still a little bit too long to where I want it. Whoop, there it comes out. So anyway, you got an idea. I'm going to finish getting it set up, put the post in, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm back. It took about another 5 minutes or so to get that post. I had to sand it down a couple of times, but I got it in, and I've got it pretty much where the old one was, I believe. So it's kind of hard to see in there. If you can see it. Anyway, so that's all set, and we're ready to put strings on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go to the city, and I'm going to have to get some strings. So we'll worry about that in the next video. and we'll maybe do the sound post on the other one, so in between. So anyway, have a good time. Have a good Christmas. It's almost Christmas time. So anyway, till next time. Bye.